The Arduino Uno Q is a very unique embedded computer in many different ways. Unlike your standard Arduino microcontroller, which can do a lot of things in many different real-time applications or hobbyist applications, and unlike your typical Raspberry Pi embedded computer, which can do a whole set of different things, this board packs the two domains in the same place, in the same form factor. This little guy packs a Qualcomm microprocessor with 4 ARM cores and an STM32 microcontroller that runs up to 160 MHz, which is quite fast. And today I'm gonna help you get started with this little guy. But we're not gonna use Arduino Apps Labs to build our applications. We are gonna be using Visual Studio Code, which in my opinion is a much more mature tool, is a much more standard, more people know about it. It supports DevContainers, it supports AI-assisted coding, it supports so many extensions. So I thought to myself, while thinking about this video, why not experiment with trying a complete development cycle with just Visual Studio Code into the Arduino Uno Q, see how that goes, and therefore this video. And with Visual Studio Code we can use our typical tools like CMake, like DevContainers. We can pull in our dependencies in the form of DevContainer. I can build standalone microcontroller applications that will run on the STM. I can build standalone Linux applications to run on the Qualcomm processor. So in my opinion, that by itself is a very nice experiment, and yeah, maybe you can do it yourself and see if it makes sense to you. All right, let's get started. First things first, I'm gonna show you how to set up your board. Let's say you bought it, you just got it out of the box. What should you do? And that's pretty straightforward. If you just follow the tutorials and you go as far as just setting up the board, that should be it. All right, this is the setup. This is the Arduino Uno Q, and this is a keyboard connected to a USB-C hub. This hub is connected also to the monitor via HDMI and to a power supply that provides energy via USB-C. Once you connected that to the board, that should be enough to boot it up. There you start seeing some log lines. Those lines are the Linux kernel booting up. And finally, we have a desktop environment. I just type in the Arduino password. You can type any password you want. That is just for the very first login. After logging in, you will see a board configuration wizard. That is a few steps that you have to do. You select the country, you select another password, but before that, I set up my Bluetooth mouse. If you have a Bluetooth mouse, you can do what you see in the screen right there. So this is a Bluetooth control. I'm gonna use that to pair the Arduino Uno Q boards with my mouse, and with that I can connect and basically use my mouse. So all I have to do is just scan it. I look for the same MAC address of my mouse, and you see in the name described MX master. This is the mouse. Once it's connected, you confirm the pair. You press a few tabs, then you confirm, and there you go. We have a Bluetooth mouse. And that makes life a little bit easier for continuing with the setup. You select a board name. That will be also the host name of the board, not the username, the host name. You are prompted to connect to the Wi-Fi. This is what I do. I type in my password of my Wi-Fi. Then I set up a new password, which is different from the one that we initially set up. Then we wait for the wizard to download a few updates. In the meantime, I open a terminal and I type my IPA. This is for me to know what was the IP address that my Arduino Uno Q got in my network. After a few minutes, the setup is done. The Arduino Uno Q has been updated with the latest packages, with the latest patches, latest software, and from that point forward, it's just your usual single board computer. You can use it as if you would use a Raspberry Pi. Now, once the setup is done, the board should be appearing in your Wi-Fi network. You should be able to ping it, SSH into it, deploy code, and whatnot. Now we're going to look into how would a Visual Studio Code workspace look like in order for us to deploy Linux applications or microcontroller applications. And this is how it looks like. This workspace contains a CMake project to build C or C++ applications, and a dev container. So starting with the dev container. This dev container is my typical C++ dev container. This is just a dev container that has compilers, cross compilers, libraries, gRPC, all the stuff that I use all the time. They are inside this dev container. I just bring that in, and the special thing about Arduino is that there is a CLI that allows us to compile sketches for the microcontroller, and that's how we're going to do it. So just following the tutorials from Arduino, you install this to your Linux, which is my dev container, and with this command and installing a few core libraries, for example the router bridge for RPC calls and other stuff, we can call Arduino CLI as a CLI command for us to compile or to build applications. But this is only for the microcontroller part. For the Linux embedded computer part, we're gonna just use our standard usual C++ CMake project, which is more than enough. So we install the Arduino CLI, and then I install this is for the next video, I install a library for serialization, and that's how the RPC, remote procedure calls framework is, so that we can exchange data from the microprocessor and the microcontroller. Again, this is for the next video, and then that should be it. The rest of the dev container is actually to build a application container, so a runtime container for us to run in the Uno, but that's also not in the video for today. So the most important part is up here. It's just installing the Arduino CLI for us to build sketches. All right, back to CMake lists. This is pretty standard, so we see this all the time. I have my CMake project. I just include some CMake files. There's a special function that I wrote to build sketches as standalone applications. This is for the RPC thing. This is for gRPC, which is something for the next video. And then there's nothing too much special. We add a library, we build executable, we install it. And what I claim as something to install is exactly the stuff that we're gonna SCP into the board. Everything that you see as install here is something that will end up in the board in the later stage. And here I just built very simple applications. Hello and the RPC one. Pretty standard. This is just a standard CMake project to build C or C++ applications in general. Now let's have a look at this special function that I wrote that is supposed to build the microcontroller application. How does that look like? So if you browse this, there's just a bit of a little bit boilerplate. This is not important. The most important part is that here we are invoking the Arduino CLI. So this command here, Arduino CLI, this is the command that we use to build sketches. And this command doesn't require our sketches to be like you see in the Arduino apps labs, that they have to be combined. So that doesn't apply here. You can build standalone microcontroller applications and you can build standalone microprocessor applications. And with the compile command, you just point to the folder where your Arduino sketch lives, and that is enough. So here is just a command to invoke the Arduino CLI. With the compile sub instruction, I just pass a few things, a little bit boilerplate as well, and that should be it. And then I install that in my installation folder in the CMake project. All this to say that if I call this function in a subfolder like this with hello, for example, which is your very standard Arduino application with the void setup, void loop, and all the Arduino functions, if I call this CMake there, this will build a binary that I can just upload to the board. Again, this as a standalone. I want to stress that that is where things are a bit different here. If you go for Arduino Apps Labs, it kind of forces you to build integrated apps. You can always build only one of them and the other can be empty. But I like this setup here because they are really independent things, and I can just compile them independently and I can deploy them independently. Why is this important? Because professionally speaking, you have two execution processors, and usually in real life things, they have their own life cycles, they have their own teams, they have their own projects, they have a little bit of dependency in between, maybe in the form of some interface. But in real life, they would be in separate repositories, and maybe you have a team that is dedicated to the microprocessor part, the embedded guys doing that, and the other with the microcontroller part. So I like the setup because we can build them independently. All right, that should be it. So here we built 2 separate applications for the microcontroller, and the rest is the rest. The applications are .eno, that's the standard in this workspace. Yeah, nothing very special about this. So if I build it, so if I do CMake build, you will see here I'm invoking the Arduino CLI, and the reason I see this very nice printout is because I put like this. So I'm using the Arduino CLI to build the program. We see how much memory it's using, and then I build the other one. Everything is very nice. So this is building my application. Now, with the install instructions that I work in CMake, I can place all those artifacts, these binary artifacts in a folder, and then I can just copy that into the board, and then we can upload from the board to inside the microcontroller. So if I call Command Shift P, CMake install, I'm invoking the CMake install command, and that's the important part. Do it like this. This is the important part. Installing the binaries. So here we see the Linux binary for hello, for the other one, for the hello, for the Eno, which is the runnable in the microcontroller, and for the one for the next video. All of those binaries are now placed in the install folder in the bin folder. So here they are. How to deploy that? Very simple. I wrote a deploy script that simply places this folder in the board. And for that, you need a user. I just used the Arduino when I did the setup, and I know the IP address. By the end of the setup, we know the IP address, and we just have to deploy there. One thing I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna copy my SSH keys identification so that I'm not prompted by the password all the time. I type the password that I used when I was setting up the board. That's it. So now I can just call this command. I'm not going to be prompted by SSH password anymore. So let me call this deploy. Scripts deploy. Looking good. And at the target, so at the boards, they should be right there. And notice this small command here. This is the last part that we have to do to deploy the microcontroller binary in the board. So this is what I have to invoke from the board. So if I log into the board, Arduino, I choose 68, I am logged in, looking good, temp, firmware. So here are the binaries. And yeah, so let's have a quick look at what should this function do. You can look at the documentation of what are the LEDs that you can actuate. I'm actuating the LED 3 red, which is the built-in in the board. If I make this, it's right here. It's a bit difficult to see. I'm going to paste a nice picture showing you exactly which LED should be activated. And this is the microcontroller program. The microprocessor program is the same thing, but it actuates a different LED. It actuates a green LED, and this is, you can also take from the documentation, and you can see that in the README of this repository. A different LED will be actuated. So we're gonna just be switching on and off. This is our hello world from the microcontroller, which switch on and off. LED that is connected to the microcontroller, and from the microprocessor we switch on and off an LED that is connected to the microprocessor. What a mouthful. All right, once more I'm in the board, I'm SSHing to it. Let me move this a little bit here. And now I'm gonna call this command to deploy the microcontroller binary in the microcontroller. So I'm gonna flash that. All I have to do is this. So it's gonna look into this Eno folder, and I'm gonna look for the binaries, and then it's gonna install the microcontroller port there, which is the hello Eno. So by the end of this flashing, I should expect a beautiful red LED blinking. How cool is that? And just to prove you I'm doing it, yeah, I'm just really doing this, I'm gonna do it for the blue LED now. I'm gonna build it again. I'm gonna, install with CMake. It is installed. I'm gonna call the deploy script. they flew over to the board, and I'm gonna reflash the microcontroller so we see the blue LED blinking this time. There we go. I think that's really cool that we managed to, in Visual Studio Code, make our complete development environment independent of the other one. Okay, but what about the microprocessor application? Because all we did was just upload the microcontroller part. Luckily, that's extremely easy. So if we go to the microprocessor application, which is this main, hello main, all we do is write to a file, which is, it maps to actuating the LED, and we can see this from the documentation. So all we do is write 1 to this file to turn it on, write 0 to turn it off, and that's it. That's all we have to do. How to call this program? As you would call any Linux program. You just go to the folder and you call this. So before I run it, I would expect to see the green LED to switch now. And this is exactly what happens. Once more, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the main to be blue. Let me just check if that's really the LED. User blue 1. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna build this. It is built, install, upload. Now I would hope to see the blue LED blinking, which is exactly what happens. Now we have a blue LED commanded by the processor and a blue LED commanded by the microcontroller. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you have learned something new. I hope this new way to build applications like hybrid applications in the microcontroller Uno Q is more efficient in any way for you. Maybe it's more professional, maybe it's more mature. I really do hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next one.